So you can catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan scratch it. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it. Catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it. What you know about classic music?
Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Retro Wrestling Review series. It's a two-man show today, but it's for one hell of a wrestling event. I'm your first co-host, the Indie Force Predictions Heavyweight Champion, the Wrestling Encyclopedia Casey Gallagher, and I really don't need this because we're not talking about a shit company today.
Nice. Nice.
I had a feeling you'd like that.
I do. I appreciate that one. Good one. Good gag. Good meme. Good meme. Speaking of memes, we'll get to that. But yeah, and I'm James. Hey, if you want
the second fat fuck.
Yes. Hey, by the way, if you want, we run another show that he hosts and I co-host, and vice versa. We're two co-hosts. It's on his channel. Go check it out. Wrestling with Idiocy, iCard right there. All right, cool. And if you like what you see here, make sure you subscribe to Owen's channel. By the way, big announcement.
You almost said to Noah's channel.
Yeah, Noah's, Owen's, all of us. But big announcement about Owen. Owen will be coming back next week. He will be showing up at some point. He was supposed to show up today for Best in the World's review. Unfortunately, events...
For reasons we will not get into.
Yeah, we will not get into. He cannot join. But he will be coming back next week at some point. We don't know for what, but we will see what happens. Whatever the next show is after the Wrestling Rundown this week, which Noah's going to host, he'll be back full-time. Not necessarily hosting the Rundown. He's going to let Noah still host it, but he will be co-hosting, if you will. So he's coming back to do his channel things. Yay! Means I don't have to edit every fucking thing.
Yeah, because he actually has Cyberlink.
Yay! So yeah, let's get into this pay-per-view because I remember before we actually get into the actual event, backstory about how I even got involved into being a part of this event. So, actually, you know what? Just because because this thing is bugging me. Input sensitivity. Going back down a little bit because you'll be able to hear me regardless. So, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So, when I was chilling out with somebody, I forget, he called me out of the blue and he's like, "Hey James, you want to go to Best in the World 2017?" He's like, "What's Best in the World?"
Ring of Honor
He's like,
show.
Ring of Honor show. I'm like, fuck it, why not? So I went to Best in the World.
I've actually got to spend the cash for once. Why not? Let's have some fun.
Yeah, exactly. So we did it, and we had some fun at the event for multiple fucking reasons. Speaking of which,
myriad of reasons.
Speaking of which, we are going to use the mic effect for the rundown rules tonight. So we're going to talk about the actual event. We got some notes ready. Specifically, we got the notes ready from voicesofwrestling.com, so shout out to them. And we also have some notes that we took on our own time. So the event itself had anywhere between 1,500 people, or no, it was 2,876 people in total, which is 1.5 in capacity. We also had anywhere between $168,000 to $175,000 in the gate. So Not bad for an indie show that was, I believe at that point, would have been the third biggest wrestling promotion in North America. At that point, it might have been number two. I don't know.
Roughly.
I think it might have been number two because didn't Impact fall down a little bit?
Impact had fallen way down by that point.
Yeah, right. Right. So there we go with that. Yeah, so they were probably the number one North American promotion in the world, and no one's counting NXT because they were branded the WWE. So don't at me.
Yeah.
And yeah, now we couldn't find a pay-per-view price, but we do know they sold it between 30 to 35.
$30 and $35 price point.
Yeah, so unfortunately we couldn't measure that, unfortunately, which means it was probably a low enough number that they couldn't tally it, which is weird because I don't know, just me. I think that's weird. But it was on Fight TV, so if anybody has a way they can number Fight TV numbers, cool. I don't know how to do it. So yeah, let's start off with the description from voicesofwrestling.com here. Despite all the turmoil that was seemingly engulfed in Ring of Honor over the last year or so, they've been putting on a great run with a relatively strong pay-per-view events. None of them had a ton of hype going in, but when the dust settled, we usually ended up with very good to great cards that had at least a couple of matches that are not worth going out of your way to see, which I don't think is necessarily the case on the show. Well, I mean, there may be as far as matches, but it does further stories that are fucking funny. So, we'll get to that. But yeah. Stupid phone. Dude, how do you turn your phones from going on to sleep mode? Coming into the show, it looked like that a streak of quality pay-per-views might come to an end, but Best in the World 2017 was one of the weakest pay-per-view cards on paper, and ROH had put together in quite some time. Thus, the big question coming into the show was whether it would disappoint, or if it could somehow exceed the low expectations. See, the funny thing is the fact that it exceeded the fact that it even had low expectations to begin with kind of surprises me because I like the show. I didn't have any expectations going in. I was just like, finally a show that wasn't WWE. So yeah. I was like, okay, this is news to me. Apparently this is the weakest card on paper that they've ever done. Sure. Before I dive right into the matches, I just want to briefly talk about the commentary team. BJ Whitmer joined Ian Riccaboni. Oh boy, Ian Riccaboni. Ag. Now, BJ Whitmer is no stranger to this kind of job, as he's done commentary in the past with Ring of Honor TV and various VOD live events over the years. However, I must say that it was a little jarring to hear him at first. For a good portion of the show, Whitmer was essentially a straightforward babyface color commentator. It was so odd to hear him in this role as a babyface after seeing him as a heel for so long. Didn't he come out as a heel and get booed by people?
I think so.
Yeah, why? Well, okay, yeah. I agree with that guy then. He did favor the heels a little bit more as the show progressed, but in general he came off as a babyface for most of the show. So he tried to be Nigel McGuinness and failed miserably, is what I'm getting out of this. Even though Colt Cabana is definitely the superior color commentator, I thought BJ Whitmer did a fine job as a whole. Alright. Now we get to start it off with the first match on the card. Before we get to the first match, we got to talk about the opening package, which normally Ring of Honor kind of does your basic promo package kind of deal for hyping up shit. They kind of did that, and then the tone drastically changed the minute Cody got on the screen. And boy, when we were live in the arena, when Cody came on the fucking screen,
like a bitch.
blew the fuck up, and he was the heel in this. So that just showed you
But
that
yeah,
guy wasn't lasting long.
he was the heel in this show. Not one single person in that arena gave two shits.
No, they all wanted him to win that fucking title. Um, so Ultimo Guerrero, after that promo package, that was awesome, by the way. Go out of your way to watch it. And El Terrible from CMLL defeated the Kingdom of Taven and Marcelia. So this is a
With an injured TK Ryan at ringside.
yes. So I'll read the notes here, and then you can read your notes. The Kingdom had one of the most ridiculous entrances I've ever seen. Matt Taven was in a throne on the stage, flanked by some beautiful women. Yes, this is truth. While Vinny Marcellia and TKO Ryan were both wheeled in. The former was strapped to a gurney, a la Silence of the Lambs. Nice shout there by Mr. Vincent. While the latter was in a wheelchair, while the entrance was incredibly wacky. They had a solid opening contest under Lucha Tag Rules with the CMLL contingent of Ultimo Guerrero and El Terrible, who was wrestling in jeans for some odd reason. By the way,
before we continue, for those who aren't familiar, Lucha Tag Rules basically state that it's your basic normal tag team match. You still tag in and out normally, but the additional caveat is if the legal man leaves the ring, I don't know if it has to be over the top rope or not. The partner on the apron automatically becomes the legal man.
Yeah, that's the caveat. So if they get out of the ring, which by the way, I wish we'd see that more often. I don't know if that's just me, but I mean, I feel like that should make sense. You know what I mean? Like, because you want to try to have some decorum, and if that's the best, I feel like that would be the better way to have decorum, because then the illegal man can't gain the advantage for the legal man. But then again,
right.
Then you can't have the heels get heat. I mean, you'd have to. I mean, they did in this match because the Kingdom were the heels, but like they had to obviously do it in a different way than what they would have been used to in the American traditional style tag match.
So it kind of forced them to think on their feet a little bit.
I just wish we'd see it more often. I don't even think you have to get rid of the traditional tag rules. I just think that I wish we'd see lucha rules more implemented in nowadays wrestling instead of just on Ring of Honor. I feel like AEW absolutely could use it. Impact as well. Just to make things different, spice it up a little bit. That's just me.
Yeah.
The crowd didn't seem too familiar with the CMLL guys at first, while El Terrible didn't do too much to stand out. Ultimo Guerrero definitely won over the crowd. That's 100% accurate.
It is. That guy. Let me tell. I gotta be honest. This is really the only note I took for this match. Matt Taven can chop some serious fucking meat.
Yeah.
And Ultimo Guerrero, well, is Ultimo Guerrero.
Ultimo Guerrero is great. He's not related to the Guerrero
Ultimo
family,
Guerrero,
right? He's not related to the Guerrero family, is he?
Not that I'm aware of. He might be.
Because if he
obviously,
is, that's
if anybody...
an obscure motherfucker in the Guerrero name, and I feel like he's vastly underrated.
Yeah,
of
course. Now all those people who know better that somehow found their way to this video were screaming at us in the comments section.
Probably they were like, "He does not the Guerrero. You play you." Well, hey, here you go. Take that for the road on your way out. Ultimo Guerrero definitely won over the crowd. He was very good throughout and even got a number of the fans to do his signature raise the roof taunt. Well, I mean, everybody knows the fucking raise the roof taunt. Rikishi did it. How many other people did it in the wrestling industry? The minute he did it, I knew what he was doing. So of course I was going to raise the roof.
Not that it mattered too much. I was too busy trying to play coach on the outside to Vinny, who was down in the ring at this time, I think. Can you tell him a fucking mark? Can you tell him a fucking mark?
Bro, why are you playing coach? Why does that dude look like he needs a fucking coach? Have you looked at Vinny lately? I don't think the dude is a. I don't think the dude is a varsity, Scott Steiner type of pro wrestler here, and you're trying to coach literally a serial killer like wrestler.
I've certainly done weirder.
I'm just saying.
And before you ask,
I'm just
no,
saying.
you don't
I'm
want to
shocked
know.
he didn't tomahawk you. That's all I'm saying. Shocked he didn't take his tomahawk and just put it straight through your head. Don't do that. You don't want to. You don't want to coach people with weapons like that. It's not good, Case. You might die. Don't do that.
You might die.
He was very good throughout. I already read that. In general, Ultimo Guerrero just looked like he was having a good time, and that certainly helped the match just be a little bit more enjoyable. The Kingdom does their usual here, i.e., perfectly competent in the ring, but never capable of putting on more than a good match. Fuck you, whoever this guy is. I highly disagree with you. TK O'Ryan, who was still in a walking boot. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My brain had a brain fart there for a second. And for some reason the page refreshed. That's wonderful. I like that. I don't.
Fuck you, Apple.
That's not even Apple's fault. This is the fucking guy's website that's obviously not compatible with Apple. In general, Ultimo Guerrero, just a bit of a day. Okay. The Kingdom, yeah. Okay. TK O'Ryan, who is still with the walking boot after the injuries he suffered at the 15th anniversary show, got involved on a few occasions, but ultimately the CMLL team was able to overcome the Kingdom as Ultimo Guerrero pinned Vinny Marcellia with a roll-up. A perfectly fine opener, but not incredibly memorable. Yet you rated this 3 1/4 stars, I think?
Which is, funnily enough, is what I rated it.
Yeah, it was good. I don't do star ratings, so I'm going to just give it a thumbs up. I thought it was a fine, serviceable opening match. I thought it was really, really good. I thought that Ultimo Guerrero got over huge. I thought that Matt Taven and Vinny did really good tag work, and I thought that El Terrible also was just over. He says that Ultimo Guerrero was the star. Absolutely he was, but Terrible got some reactions when he started doing chops, bro, and those were hard, by the way.
Yeah.
Especially when him and Taven got into a chop off. Don't ever get into a chop off with those two. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, and there's a GIF here by Ring of Honor. Apparently, this is in reference to the entrance. So yeah, there was women on the crowns of. There was women. Women were next to the throne of Matt Taven, and he had a crown on his head and stuff. And then you had Vinny Marcellia on the gurney while, somebody's just wheeling. He's got a weird outfit on, and he's wheeling Taven I forgot he was in a wheelchair and he was just getting wheeled out by some dark, mysterious figure. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Anyway, oh god, here comes the hard hitting match of the night. Strap match.
Probably the most unnecessarily brutal match of the night.
I agree with this. Strap match: Frankie Kazarian versus Hangman Adam Page.
Now, before we get into this, I have to say, before I rewatched this for this retro, I actually forgot how good Adam Page was at cutting heel promos. He looked like a man possessed in that package.
He did. But I think he's a much natural babyface now that we've seen what he can be in AEW, so that's just me. Excuse me. Holy shit. Wrong pipe. I fucking hate that. That's happened the 7th fucking time. This time with a drink. So yeah, this was a very different strap match from what I thought it was going to be. That's what this guy says over on voicesofwrestling.com. So basically, what this match was they had two different straps, and they just kind of whipped each other with straps, and they weren't hooked up together. They just had their own straps. They could use as weapons, and then
And
the one with
believe
the
you
spikes
me,
came out.
after after Adam Page had somehow managed to wrest Kaz's strap off his wrist.
Yeah. Oh man, this is gonna be hard to cover. Uh, Neither
Yeah.
man was connected by
Also,
one strap, as this guy says. Yeah, go ahead.
um, actually, wait, I'll let you get through the notes because it might talk about what I want to get into.
That's fine. Instead, both men simply had a strap about 2, maybe 3 feet long, attached to their wrist. Although I expressed some cautious optimism in my preview, I don't think anyone was looking forward to this match. Partly because it personifies what Ring of Honor has become in 2017. What we ended up getting was an intense brawl that definitely exceeded my expectations and everybody else's in the building because there was not a lot of Adam Page fans by this time. This is the match that absolutely won him over with the crowd. This is what
And
made Adam
rightly so.
Page and took him off to the stratosphere to where he is now in AEW. Fuck you, don't at me. This was the match. This highly elevated him to where he is now. I highly suggest everybody watch this match to see Adam Page become Adam Page. This is tremendous. This is such a fucking. It's brutal, but it was tremendous to get over the character of the Hangman. What we ended up getting was an intense brawl that definitely exceeded my expectations. It was actually pretty good. They managed to carry over that intensity from their first match, and that just played right into the stipulation. It was brutal enough with the straps, but we got a couple of crazy spots. At one point, Kazarian suplexes Page onto the stairs that makes up the entranceway. That makes up the entranceway. Now, I want to
And that looked painful as shit.
for the record. So keep in mind, we're not talking about steel steps, folks. Like this is
No, these are like about this thick wooden stairs.
they were in a sense. I don't even think they were wood, by the way. They were metal stairs, case, because I heard the metal smack. It just sounded
Yeah,
awful.
there were stage
They were
stairs more or less.
stage stairs. So if you've ever seen an ECW show, you know that they had stairs that you walk down from the entranceway. That's what they suplexed onto. Fuck, that hurt. That fucking
Yeah.
hurt to watch. Oh man. So later on, Page used his hangman's noose to tie Kazarian to the ropes, which would inspire a young Wardlow later. Um,
Yes. But there's another thing I would like to talk about.
yeah.
I don't know if it came before this, what you just said, or after, but there was a point where Kazarian had Page gave him 3 lashes in quick succession, whacked the shit out of Hangman Page with the strap.
Yeah.
Immediately, Adam Page flips over the ropes into the buckshot lariat.
Yeah, that was a brutal. That was a nuts looking fucking spot. I love that.
And
spot.
he cleans Kaz's cock.
Yeah, this match, go out of your way, man. Like Kazarian put over Page in a huge way here. Um, Now Page introduces the strap covered in thumbtacks and nails.
And nails and other such
He
horrors.
he must have talked to Abyss in preparation for this match. Nice one. I like that. I like that little shout. He used it on Kazarian, cutting up his back in the process. This was just disgusting. Oh my god.
Yeah.
At one point, I'm pretty sure also, I don't know if it was with the straps with the spikes or the other strap, but I'm pretty sure either Kazarian or Page, one of the two, gets smacked in the face with one of the straps. That looked like it
I
fucking
want to.
sucked.
I want to say that was Paige.
Yeah,
Might be
Page
wrong.
took the fucking strap to
But
the face. Yeah.
speaking of Paige, the look on his face when he first pulled that fucker out from underneath the ring
Mm-hmm.
and licked the tips of the stabbing
That
implements,
was a visual. And then they chant
that
the
was
crowd,
disturbing.
and that was the moment that got Page over. And the crowd chants, "You sick fuck! You sick fuck!" Fucking great spot. Great spot. Great spot. Great storytelling too. Um,
Yeah,
but Kazarian turns the tables and uses the strap with thumbtacks and nails on Page, following a vicious fall onto the exposed hardwood floor. Kazarian used a regular strap to choke Page out on the ropes for the submission victory. Again, this was a surprisingly good bout. There was cool action mixed with intense brawling and some brutal spots. Both guys really stepped it up here and put together a match that was much better than that had any right to be. 3.5 stars, he said. I would rate this 4. I thought this was like the match
agreed.
that made that really did make Adam Page into a vicious
Yeah,
heel that would later translate into his slow character progression into the no nonsense babyface into the current babyface he's at right now. And his character
yeah,
progression all starts kind of like right around this time period. Um, you could probably go back further than that. I just think that this is like the match that made Adam Page. Kazarian really, really fucking gave him a lot of shit here.
yeah.
Tremendous
He
stuff
did.
to give him. It was
It was
just a great
amazing.
match.
It was amazing. And and just for laughs, the message you and I exchanged after I got through watching this, you said, "I remember this legit. Who thought spikes on a leather belt would be a good idea?"
No,
My response, my response, Kenny Omega. I mean, what?
probably. Kenny Omega watched this match in preparation for his match with Moxley. That's what happened here.
Yeah.
Don't twist the narrative here. Don't twist the fucking narrative. Oh my god. All right. So, next matchup is losing faction must disband. Search and Destroy versus the Rebellion. So,
And Search and Destroy consists of the Motor City Machine Guns, Jonathan Gresham, and a pre-Switchblade Jay
which
White,
was
who I
weird.
completely forgot was on this card.
It was weird not seeing him in the Switchblade shit.
So weird. But yeah, he was still in the Young Lions program at that point.
Fun fact: I believe his slow tease of a heel turn started during the tapings after this. Because if you remember, he actually fought Kushida, who was the Ring of Honor Television Champion at the time, on the card. So he actually ended up teasing his heel turn right around this show. So we were there, like at the genesis of what Switchblade would become, which was nuts to think about, by the way.
Meanwhile, they're up against the Rebellion, which consists of Caprice Coleman, Kenny King, Shane Taylor, and Rhett Titus.
Rhett Titus and Kenny King, not enough can be said about how underrated of a team they are. Fucking Caprice Coleman and Shane Taylor. I mean, you get what you get with Shane Taylor. He's a very good, very athletic now, big man. But by this point, he was still losing weight and doing a very good job at it by this point. I think he was like a lot smaller compared to what he is. I mean, he's still big, but he's a lot thinned out now. But like back then, he was still a little chunky. So he's got some limitations.
A little chunky. A little chunky. Look at those thunder thighs again and say that.
Caprice Coleman, man, not enough good things can be said about
Where
this
do we
fucking
even
guy.
start? Where do we even
This
start?
guy, I wish was in a major current promotion, dude. The guy's such a fucking nice guy. Met him at the tapings. Fucking tremendous. He had a smile on his face from ear to ear after he did a program with Caprice Coleman, like during a Q&A session. And I shook his hand. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Just nice to meet you. I was literally right next to him when they were doing that angle, and then he just looked at me and was like, hey, nice to meet you, Caprice. He's like, how you doing, man? I'm doing good. And he was just really nice guy. Let you shake his hand. I took a picture with him and stuff, although I lost it because iPhone sucks. Um, so yeah, Caprice is really, really awesome. Tremendous professional. His kicks, by the way. You want to talk about how Sean Waltman had great kicks? Caprice Coleman puts
guy.
Sean Waltman to fucking shame. Don't at me. This guy, every time he lands a kick, literally looks like he knocked his opponent's block off every time, even though he's probably one of the most safest fucking indie workers currently going on today. I don't know how he's able to pull back his kicks, because that looks like he could legitimately kill you if he actually
So we got
connected.
two stacked stables here, and it somehow never truly sunk in for me until I watched this pay-per-view back that we actually got to see Motor City Machine Guns live.
Yeah, Motor City Machine Guns twice, by the way, along
Yeah,
with
they were on the TV
the
table.
Young Bucks
They
who
were
were
on the
on the
TV
same
table the
card.
next night. I actually got a finger gun point from Chris Sabin.
Yeah, I was,
Which was
dude.
fucking
I
crazy.
remember being next to either. I think it was Shelly. I was right next to Shelly, freaking out, pounding on the thing on the Ring of Honor sign as he
Yeah.
was doing this pose, and I was like,
Yep.
ah, yeah, he's so cool. So yeah, this is another example of a match that people didn't care about being a lot better than anyone was expecting. Granted, it didn't greatly exceed expectations like the match prior did, but still, this was a ton of fun to watch. There was non-stop action from start to finish. Everyone had a chance to shine, and it went about the perfect length. The only real negative note I had to bring up was the awkward botch that occurred during the end that involved Jonathan Gresham. Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
that was like the only bad thing about it. For the record, though, one spot that we should bring up is that crazy fucking dive Caprice Coleman did all the way from the fucking stage and perfectly lands on everybody.
Yeah.
That
That's
was
friggin' nuts.
insane. This guy's so underrated. Somebody
He
got
is.
to sign him, please.
Now,
Sign this
there was
man.
also there was also a point where Caprice Coleman was tied to the Tree of Woe, and he took a triple drop kick.
That was fucking nuts. Yeah, I like
And
that.
you want to talk about nuts? Picture this. Picture this.
nice segue.
Kenny King. Picture this. A bulldog stun gun by Kenny King on Jonathan Gresham as Kenny King clears the top rope and lands on his fucking feet.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
Yeah. Kenny King, also a very underrated talent. I think him and Rhett Titus are very underrated tag team. I think Rhett Titus is retired. I think Kenny King's still going. So if so, I know
King, I believe, is still going.
I know King Mo's actually a lot better since his TNA days, and he's part of the MLW stable. Bring him in and team him up with Kenny King. Go do it. Hail to the Kings, baby. Hail to the Kings.
As a side note, there's this one fat geeky looking dude about 3 rows back from ringside that won't shut his fucking yap.
Gee, I wonder who that could be. I might be looking right at him via the Discord chat right now.
We'll give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count.
Guess what? All answers are correct. Alright, so after that little meme.
He also had a classic double enziguri from Motor City. That shit never gets old.
That's always great to see. I love seeing the Motor City Machine Guns just hit fucking great tag moves. They're tremendous. The only real negative note, the awkward bots for Gresham. He tried to go for a springboard moonsault inside the ring, but he slipped and got caught up in the ropes, Gresham did not land on his head, thankfully.
Yeah, Coleman had to help steady him.
Though watching him struggle for a good 4 to 5 seconds as he tried to reposition himself was so unfortunate. Out of all the guys involved here, he probably is the last one I would expect to botch something. But he's usually very smooth. Fortunately, Gresham made up for his mishap by scoring the win for Search and Destroy after Rhett Titus tapped out to an octopus stretch while the rest of the teammates trapped in the remaining members of the rebellion in submissions of their own. As mentioned in the preview, I don't think you could have gone wrong with either result, though I'm very happy Search and Destroy got the win here. The rebellion had really run its course after being around for a year, so it was about time they were broken up. 3.5 stars was also the rating for this. Now,
I would say 4.
Now, after the match, which is ironic because it was two factions going to war with each other, that was pretty much the window dressing for this big motherfucker to come in. Punishment Martinez came out and attacked Jay White and Jonathan Gresham. Martinez had been feuding with White over the last month or so, and this marks the second time that White had been attacked by Martinez following a match on pay-per-view. I believe they'll be facing off on an episode of ROH TV coming up shortly. So this attack by Martinez builds up to that. Although it wasn't Jay White, it was actually Jonathan Gresham, who then got killed with a last ride onto the apron, which didn't look fun to fucking take. Fuck. I was there on camera, freaking out as I saw this, and I'm like, I had this idea. I'm gonna use this spot on WYW because I'm the same fuck.
Yeah, right.
So
and of course, funnily enough, a similar spot would be my entryway into the company.
That's fair. But yeah, Punishment Martinez, who's now Damian Priest in NXT.
Also, funnily enough, this is about the match where I was invited to move up to the front row by some other guy next to an empty seat. He said to me once I got up there, he said, "Okay, so there's 2 caveats for you sitting up here. Number 1, you have to cheer Cody. And number 2, you have to cheer Dalton Castle." Me. Number 1 is easy enough. But who the fuck is Dalton Castle?
Oh, boy.
Homeboy. You'll know him when you see him. Just watch and enjoy. You're in for a treat.
And you were correct. And he was correct, by the way.
But that being said, I have to be honest. On that night, Punishment Martinez, at least to my eye, almost looked like you'd see him in a flop house.
Yeah, right?
Good afternoon, ball of dope pushers.
So Jay Lethal is up next versus Silas Young. You want to talk about a sleeper match here?
Oh, God.
This was great. This is a really great match. Both tremendous workers anyway, but this is just tremendous. By the way, position to get Silas Young to team up with the world-class maniac Eric Young, so that way we can finally have the dream team of Young squared. Just saying. Just do it up.
Only when you can get Mark Young in there to be their manager.
There's a lot of Youngs in the Young family. Wait, does that mean Eric Young's your cousin, and then Silas Young is like your uncle?
I honestly could see Silas Young as Mark Young's uncle, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. While both men have exchanged victories over the last several months, Silas Young had really gotten the upper hand on Lethal coming into this one. With 2 victories over the former Ring of Honor World Champion the last 2 months, this was their first time they had clashed on pay-per-view, and it turned out to be a really good contest. The start was actually pretty clever as Lethal came out of the crowd and ambushed the Beer City Bruiser with a steel chair, immediately removing him from the equation. The wrestling itself was, for the most part, very solid throughout. Any notes that you want to take on this one, Case, before I continue?
My first note is actually on the promo. I feel like Silas Young could take a couple of cues from Jay Lethal on how to cut a promo. I do like the Jake Roberts approach he takes, though.
Yeah, I do like the little. I love how he like took the cigarette.
The very
Yeah.
he, not so much the cigarette, but in terms of Silas Young's delivery, he's very quiet. He's very direct. Doesn't do a whole lot of raising his voice.
Mm.
I like that. That's it's almost like tranquil fury. You don't see that a whole lot these days.
However, when trying to rewatch the show for a live reaction with Owen, this happened.
Now I can get the 5904.
All right, good. All right, give me a second.
Hold on.
on.
Oh, okay, I'm at 5904, so I'll press play when you tell me.
All right, hold on. Oh, fuck off with the pop-up ads! Fuck off!
Oh my
Fucking
god.
loser! Get the fuck away from my fucking computer! Holy shit! Oh my god! Fucking Suplex City people find fucking annoying. How about fucking Pop-Up Ad City? Fuck! Yeah. 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 This happened. I hate technology, Case. Did I tell you that? I hate it, apparently. I do. It is not my best friend at all. Apparently. It's just not my best friend. Now, I bring that up because it was right around the cigarette promo that we saw. And I'm like, it kept, after seeing it so many times, you hate it. You just hate it because you can't get past that one part because it's stupid bullshit. So there you go. But yeah, we move. So I would like for this not to keep refreshing every time. Where the fuck was I now? See, fucking. Hey, if you're going to create a website, everyone, make sure it's it's supported on every device. Fucking pagans. Anyway, this start was actually pretty clever. I already read that part. Alright, here we go. There was some brawling on the outside to start, and while the pace slowed down a bit immediately following the initial phase, things got better as the match progressed.
You know what didn't get better as the match progressed?
What?
Ian Riccaboni's commentary.
Yeah. So let's talk about one of the spots here. So Jay Lethal tries to perform an elbow drop onto the floor. Silas Young rolls out of the way and it looked like it fucking sucked, and he's like selling this.
He's selling his ass off.
I don't know if he was selling or if he was actually hurt, but one of the two. And so fucking BJ or somebody was like talking about how badly he was hurt, and all you hear is Ian Riccaboni with the most nonchalant call in the history of professional wrestling. He's writhing in pain. I swear to God, that's exactly how he said it. That's exactly how it came across. It was so nonchalant, and there was no fucks given for Jay Lethal. Holy shit, Ian Riccaboni, you're a great human being. Awful on fucking commentary. I hope you got better after this, because holy shit, this was horrid. Absolutely horrid.
I will say this for Ian Riccaboni. He's nothing if not professional.
He's
Sometimes a little too professional for his own good, though.
He's writhing in pain. Maybe that's what it is. He's writhing in emotional pain. Maybe Ian Riccaboni's going through some shit, man. Maybe we're a little hard on him. Maybe he's just going through a bad day.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Maybe. Who knows?
We eventually saw some good back and forth action from both guys, even though he was buried in the middle of the card. Jay Lethal almost never fails to deliver a good performance on ROH pay-per-view. To his credit, Silas Young stepped up as well, as he had an equally good outing. As a whole, this match was very enjoyable, but it wasn't without its issues. At one point, Lethal was in the middle of the ring, doing 3 consecutive dives on the floor. and Young used a chair to stop Lethal on the third dive. They never really made it clear whether Tom Sinclair was paying attention or not. Because this should have immediately resulted in a DQ. Yeah, that's fair. Although it depends on if he was actually using it as a weapon. I don't remember. It's been too long now.
I believe he threw it up into Jay Lethal's
He
face.
never then used it. He technically just tossed it in the air. I don't know. Maybe I don't fucking know. But anyway, Todd Sinclair got.
Either way, it looked dangerous for both of them.
Yeah. Then the finish itself was a little flat. Todd Sinclair got shoved down by Silas Young, who then went for a pin, but Sinclair wasn't in position. Lethal got a roll up on his own to score the victory. Again, the match was very good, but it could have been even better with a different finish. 3.5 stars again. Now there's a GIF here. I'm gonna play it here. I believe this is the spot he was talking about. Yeah, he just used it as a blockade. Really, I don't know if he actually used it as a weapon per se. Maybe that was the goal. He was not actually swinging for the fences. You know how in baseball, you weren't swinging for the bases, but the ball hit the bat anyway. So you take a ball or something. I don't know, something like that. Like if you don't swing for the fucking ball, then it's not a strike. But if it goes past the plate and you swing for it, then it's a strike. That might have been what they were going for here. I don't know.
I don't know.
As soon as
Almost like a check swing.
yeah, pretty much. As soon as the match ended, Silas Young went on the attack. The Beer City Bruiser then returned, and they proceeded to destroy Jay Lethal. Destroy is an understatement. First, Young hit Lethal with his finisher, Misery, onto the Beer City Bruiser's keg. Then, the keg was wedged onto one of the corners, and Young restrained Jay at the same time. In the corner, the Beer City Bruiser hit a number of running stinger splashes on Lethal. Finally, they set up a table, and Silas Young watched as the Beer City Bruiser hit a splash off the top rope to the floor, putting Lethal through a table. I don't envy Jay Lethal in this situation at all. Obviously, this feud is going to
Props
continue.
to him for taking that, dude.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And props to frickin' Beer City Bruiser for being able to get up that high. That was a crazy visual from where I was sitting, by the way. I didn't even see Jay Lethal, really. I just saw a big flying fat guy just careening into Jay Lethal. And I was like, holy shit.
And then you heard the sploosh of his body fat exploding everywhere.
Pretty much, yeah. Jay Lethal then got squashed like the pancake. It was not fun for Jay Lethal on this night.
Nope.
Obviously, this feud is
Really good match, though. I'd say 4.5 stars.
I really enjoyed this one. It had its problems, but it's like whatever. You can look past it. What is it? Fucking see. Here's everything going on. Fucking where am I now? Okay, so obviously this feud is going to continue as even though Jay Lethal technically got the win, Silas Young was the one who stood tall in the end. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Now we got the ROH 6-Man Tag Team Championships. Dalton Castle and the boys defeated the Briscoes and Bully Ray.
Also, a.k.a. Mark Young. I mean, what?
Wait, what? I didn't say nothing. The story goes...
I didn't say shit. No, but I do want to talk about Dalton Castle's promo really quick.
Yeah, go.
I find it hilarious because his whole first half of his promo is literally just ripping off the first Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. The story...
And then, is it Jay or Mark that just goes off like a motherfucker?
Probably one of them. I feel like it would be Mark. And it refreshed again. Should have picked a different source. Okay, let's read the story. So the story going into this one was that Jay Briscoe was obsessed with getting his hands on the boys after they inadvertently caused him to get a pin in an 8-man tag team match against Los Engombres de Japón, which was Tetsuya Naito's faction, a.k.a. LIJ. I think it's fair to say this one was probably the weakest match on the entire card. It was by no means bad, and it certainly had some good moments scattered throughout. But it was basically a decent TV match put on pay per view. They focused heavily on the story between Jay Briscoe and the boys, and it seemed to take the precedent over the match quality. Speaking of the boys, as mentioned in my preview of the pay per view, Joe Lanzana brought a similar point up on the most recent flagship podcast. By the way, go check out the flagship podcast. That's a podcast they run on this website. So there's the link in the description for the article. Go check out the flagship podcast. I'll find a link for that as well. That this could have been a big opportunity for the boys to break out. Well, it didn't happen at all. There were total non-factors in this match with a pure action perspective. They had a few spots here and there, the main one being a nut shot on Jay Briscoe, but they barely did anything. It seemed like their sole purpose was to be the catalyst for the finish. Jay Briscoe dived onto the boys on the floor, and they responded by just running away to the crowd. Bully Ray tried to restrain Jay Briscoe, and while that was going on, Dalton Castle caught Mark Briscoe in a roll-up to win the ROH six-man tag team titles. I'm not sure
Now,
why
I gotta admit,
Go ahead.
the design for the ROH six-man belts is actually pretty good.
Yes,
Simple and elegant.
very, very true. I also, there's one spot he's completely missing here. Bully Ray busted a move on Dalton Castle.
And he throws Dalton Castle's own pose right back in his face, looking every inch like Violent J. It's fucking great.
It's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Now, Castle could have just hit his finish on Mark Briscoe, and that would have been significantly better. Not a roll-up, as suppose, which is, I guess, a nitpick by his end. Also, this marks the third time that a match on this card ended with a roll-up. Regardless, it's still cool to see Dalton Castle finally holding a title in Ring of Honor. This was his first championship ever in the promotion here that we witnessed.
Yeah.
The finish I predicted in my pay-per-view predictions ended up coming true as Jay Briscoe's obsession with the boys cost him the six-man tag team titles. Bully Ray didn't look too pleased after the fact, so I'll be curious to see if he will be in some sort of heel turn involving Jay Briscoe or Bully Ray coming out of this. 3 stars. And
well, hey, at least we got the get the table.
yeah, we got that spot, and everyone loved that freaking dance off between Dalton and Bully Ray. So,
yep,
match was fine with me.
Yeah, so it may be a 3-star match. What?
Max.
It may be a 3-star match, but it's one of the more fun 3-star matches you'll ever see.
Absolutely.
And now we move on to the next match. Whoop whoop.
It's the sound. Now, Marty, scroll. Coming into this pay-per-view, this was the match I was looking forward to the most. Their first encounter, which featured Kushida winning the Ring of Honor World TV title, was fine. But pretty much everyone expected that rematch would be significantly better. While it was certainly a great match, I felt that it slightly underperformed. Now we have a match we got to check out, I guess, because apparently the first match was better. Now, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of awesome action in this one from start to finish. Kushida and Marty Scurll are two of the best wrestlers in the world, and they proved it that here with some incredible back and forth exchanges. Yeah, absolutely. This match was fucking great. This is definitely, by this point, the best match of the night.
Yep.
Scurll was...
And you gotta love Marty Scurll. Flipping off Kushida even as he's getting stomped in the face.
Phenomenal fucking heel work.
That's a champ right there.
That's tremendous. Scurll was vicious and looked like he had the match won at numerous points, but the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion never gave up. By the way, this is also leading in...
And winner of the Best of the Super Juniors that year, I believe.
Yeah, he had so much, around him. Funny thing is, not even too long after this, I think he won the WCPW Cup, too, the only one in history. He was winning, literally everything. Kushida was, the number one wrestler in the world by the end of 2017 going into 2018. You were not going to stop this guy. Here's another thing about it, too. So, Kushida and Scurll, this is the starting point to the epic fatal four-way match that would take place on the Jericho Omega card Wrestle Kingdom 12 that would happen. So Will Ospreay was in that match as well. The freaking what's his name? Hiroshi Takahashi. Fucking was also
Hiromu
Hiromu
Takahashi.
Takahashi. Yeah, I always get those two confused. Which, by the way, Hiromu Takahashi's a fucking treasure. Just saying.
He is.
Specifically, his promo with Will Ospreay, where he was just like standing on his head, showing his neck was fine. He's like, "Mike, please, Mike, please." I fucking love that guy, man. He's fucking tremendous.
He is a
Tremendous.
gift. But I'll tell you what's not a gift. Marty Scurll going on the attack on somebody's fingers. That never gets any easier to
It
watch.
never gets easier, and you know he doesn't actually break the fingers, but it was sad. It hurts. Don't do that. You're a meanie.
Yeah.
You're a meanie, Marty.
Well,
That's
what
the
goes
sound
around
of the
comes
fingers.
around,
Break,
because
break.
yep, yeah. Well, what goes around comes around, as I believe the finish to this match involves Kushida returning the finger spot to Marty Scurll.
Yes, yes, indeed.
And when that happens, like immediately after that happens, you go back to standard hard cam, and there's a great shot of me looking like I almost threw up in the crowd.
That's fair. So yeah, the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion never gave up. Eventually, Kushida turned the tables on Scurll using his own finger break spot against his. Then hit the Back to the Future twice, once off the second rope, and then again on that looked sick, by the way. And then again, in the ring to retain the Ring of Honor World
Ring of
Television
Honor TV
Championship.
title.
Um, there wasn't anything wrong with the actual wrestling itself. What hurt this match, in my view, was the crowd. At certain points, they seemed to be very quiet and didn't react to much at all. To me, we were more intrigued with how they were going to wrestle. It's one of those things where it's a match you watch closely to what these guys do, and then like as it
Yeah,
gets to the
this is one of those match. This is one of those matches you could actually theoretically take notes on.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think the crowd was tired because they were really behind Marty Scurll. Honestly, it seems like fans weren't into Kushida. I don't recall him getting any negative reactions, or they didn't know who he was, which is crazy considering the fact that Kushida wrestled on the ROH pay-per-view in this very building last fall. Whatever it was, the lack of reaction definitely hurt this one. Uh, as there were points where it seemed like Kushida and Marty Scurll were wrestling in front of a silent crowd. Those issues with the crowd, however, didn't change the fact that this is still a great title bout. He rated this 4 stars. I'd rate this 4.25. I thought it was actually no. I'd rate this like 4.5 too. I really thought this was fucking the best match. Although I just rated the thumbs up because star ratings are too complicated to measure nowadays, and fuck that nonsense.
Yeah, and fuck that mess.
Do you have any other notes to add to that match, Casey?
No, I think we covered everything.
Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship Triple Threat Tornado Tag. Impromptu, mind you. The Young Bucks defeated
Yes.
Best Friends and War Machine.
Beth friends.
Beth Friends. Beth.
I didn't know
Friends.
Beth Phoenix was on this card.
Best Friends. This was originally.
Those, of course, being Chucky T and Trent Beretta.
This was originally scheduled to be just a regular 2-on-2 title match, with War Machine
Between
challenging
the Young Bucks and the War Raiders.
Yes. But Chuck Taylor and Trent
Yes,
Beretta
Eric
came out
Hansen and
and
Raymond Rowe.
inserted themselves into the mix, with Beretta noting that Taylor pinned one of the Young Bucks during a 6-man tag team match in Philadelphia on a recent episode of Ring of Honor TV. The addition of Best Friends was a great move, though I didn't know why they just added them, why they didn't just add them in beforehand. That 6-man tag with Beretta only took a place a couple weeks ago, so there was plenty of time to add Best Friends to get to this one rather, as like official match. I guess they just wanted their appearance to be a surprise.
sort of surprised.
Yeah.
I will say this though, this triple threat tag match really reminded me how well the Bucks can actually move.
Yeah.
And it's even crazier when you realize that the Bucks can move that well, and Best Friends and War Raiders were holding their own.
Yeah. Really, really well, too.
Think about that shit for a second.
Yeah, which, by the way, this has started the genesis of what they really, really, really wanted for WWE tag team titles, or rather, for the AEW tag division, was teams that were
Yeah.
all different towards one another. Anyway, this turned out to be a fantastic match. It was super entertaining sprint. Going around the 12 or 13 minutes, that featured some intense action from start to finish. By the way, this was like a 5-star match coming up here. I fucking love this match so much. Everyone involved did a great job.
Incredible.
And the fans were into it throughout. This was easily the best match on the entire show. While there was no doubt the Young Bucks versus War Machine would have been great, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta added so much to this one. With their late addition, I thought there was a chance they could have won the titles here, but the Young Bucks ultimately emerged victorious, pinning Chuck Taylor after a double indie taker, aka Meltzer driver, followed by some super kicks. I hope that result doesn't mean Taylor goes away, because he would be such an awesome addition to the Ring of Honor roster. Hopefully he sticks around. I believe he rates it 4.25 stars. I disagree. I think this was 5 stars.
Yeah.
There was not
Especially when you factor in that, especially when you factor in how much of a clusterfuck this is, and Chucky T still found a way to work in a Kentucky Cannonball.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Chucky T,
of course,
Chucky T knows how to work his shit in, man. Like, a lot of people give him a
but of
lot
course,
less credit than
so do
he
the Young
deserves.
Bucks, and of course, so do the others. And after about 8 super kicks in a row, grand total, I don't remember if this was in the ring, outside of the ring, or both, but it was like that one song from the SmackDown vs. Raw 08 soundtrack. Everybody down! Everybody down! Coming around.
Well, I mean, I feel like they were just the Oprah Winfrey of super kicks, bro. You get a super kick, and you get a super kick, and you get a super kick. Everybody gets a super kick. Oh my god! Could you imagine if Brandy fucking managed them too? That would have been more irony. By that point, that would have been phenomenal. Anyway, well, we knew what was coming eventually, but it finally happened. Cody Rhodes. I'm not going to read his description because I don't want to spoil it. Cody Rhodes takes on Christopher Daniels for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champions.
Almighty Christopher Daniels.
Almighty Christopher Daniels.
We should point out.
Which, by the way, you should keep that nickname for AEW. I think you should be known as the Almighty. God damn it. He is the Almighty! Put some respect on a fallen angel. Respect! But pretty much everyone knew the result of this one coming. In hindsight, we should have seen how much this match was going to play out. They were having a good, solid wrestling match, but nothing more. Until the shenanigans started. Ton Sinclair gets taken out, which in hindsight wasn't a groan-inducing as it usually is, since it didn't lead directly to the finish, which was the signal for Marty Scurll to come out as Cody had a steel chair. Daniels caught the chair and did the old Eddie Guerrero spot. This was immediately followed up by Cody Rhodes hitting a Cody cutter onto the chair. Fun fact
Which
about
busted
this.
his lip.
Yeah, fun fact about that. That busted his lip. So, as before we get into everything else here, to kind of get into all that stuff, this is what happened in the beginning portions of the match to this poor guy right here. Roll it.
Shouldn't be afraid of him becoming champ. The board of directors should not be afraid of that man becoming champ, but they are. He's on to something. He knows what he's talking about. It sure is.
Okay, So now you saw
So
me meeting Cody and him meeting Cody. Those are the pictures, obviously. Now,
yes,
the whole thing about this is when I talked to him, and he was doing pictures for free, by the way. He was the only one doing it. That was awesome. So, Cody's awesome.
because I suspect it's just because he wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. So, he was doing great, obviously. He was the fan favorite throughout the entire night. Everybody wanted to see him win this fucking belt. They came for Cody Rhodes. You cannot convince me otherwise. They wanted to see him win his first world title. Now, here's the thing about this. So I talked to him about this, and I'm like, "So what happened with your lip? I swear it was because you did the RKO in a chair." And he's like, "Yeah, it did not really go according to plan. Yeah,
Didn't go well, but you know what? Shit happens. What are you gonna do?
yeah." So yeah, I was like, "You got to come up with a finishing name for that, bro. It's a new gimmick." And he's like, "I don't know, man. Maybe I'll call it the CKO." WWE might try to send another cease and desist. And he's like, "Yeah, you're probably right." But then
Did you offer him up the end of the road?
I told him, "Yeah, you should call it the end of the road." Funny story if you know me in personal life. But before we get into the whole thing, you already saw what happened to poor Casey. I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta run and get Casey." So I literally run across the entire arena.
Darts across the friggin' building.
Absolutely darted. And so I get Casey and I bring him over to meet Cody right before he's about to go to the backstage. And I'm like, "Hey, wait, Cody, guess who I found?" And he's like, "Oh shit, you're the guy I flipped off." And so they start taking a picture, and we got the picture, and then I started taking a video. And this is what happened after that.
Did you get it?
I'm getting it now. Getting it now.
Nope.
The meme.
Now, let me give you a little quick backstory for that. After flipping me off, we were at the TV tapings the next day. I got two sweets from him. One after he cut his promo of, "I do deserve it, don't I?" in the middle of the ring. I got one from him there, and then I went and saw him in the autograph line later and got another one from him there. Then all that happened.
Yes.
So in the space of about 2.5 hours, I got, in this order, closure, payback, and respect from the previous night. A literal 2-day storyline, unintended,
By the
with the Ring of Honor World Champion.
Cody Rhodes.
What the fuck is life?
Son of a plumber. What a story, man.
The son of a plumber.
The son of a plumber. Wow, you were the son of a bitch. I mean, what?
I mean, what?
I didn't say that.
I didn't say shit. I will say this, though. Going back to the promo for this match really quick. Why does Chris Daniels sound like an anime character when he's raising his voice?
Because he's Christopher Daniels and he's the Almighty One. Don't question him. How dare you expect Christopher Daniels to change? He's a beautiful man.
I mean, in person probably. I don't know if his entrance attire that night would give you that impression. It almost made him look like some weird blend of Nazi and Star Wars Imperial officer. I mean, I get it.
I believe he was.
Ring general, and he absolutely is.
In fairness, I don't think the former is true, Case. I'm pretty sure it was just Imperial Army.
No. I mean, I'm just saying that's the aesthetic I got from his outfit.
Okay.
And I get what they were going for. Again, ring general, and he absolutely is. But probably should have thought that design through a little bit more, at least to me.
That's fair. I didn't put the chances of Christopher Daniels.
One person I am absolutely at liberty to question, however, is ring announcer Bobby Cruz. Ring of Honor World Champion of the World. Nice one, dipshit.
Bobby. Ring of Honor World Champion of the World. Huh? Oh yeah, I'm ready. Wait, what? Huh? Mind running that one by me again, Chief? Okay. Nice one. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. You sure? We can do a retake. You sure? Okay. Fuck it. Alright. Now.
But yeah, thanks to this match, I was actually reminded exactly how well Cody could move. There was also a point in this match, a fucking Rainmaker from hell, courtesy of Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Clear message sent, not just to
Yeah,
Kazuchika
because he was
Okada,
going to challenge
but
Okada
all of New
afterwards,
Japan.
which, honest to God, I love Okada, but I wish he did win that. Because that would... Could you have imagined in 2018, Cody Rhodes, like, Ring of Honor, NWA, and IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, all 3 championship belts high over his head. Holy shit, would that have been a visual at all in? What a fucking visual that would have been. I'm just saying. But, you know, Kazuchika, I'm sure, was not going to give up his spot easy. He's fucking Okada. I mean, he was a star of Japan, so I can't get too mad of it. I just wish he...
And in many ways, still is.
Yeah. Still is, yeah. So let me get to the... Because, again, of course, as I'm talking, the match... the fucking goddamn thing refreshed. So. Where is everything? Oh, yeah, here it is. So, Cody hitting... Yeah, alright. In full view of Todd Sinclair, which marks the second time on the show that Sinclair saw the chair being used and didn't call for the DQ. Okay, so one thing I will say, he did not use the chair. He used a place.
He did not use the chair as a weapon. He did not use the chair as a weapon. He used it as a placed item.
That is fine, especially.
That's a very important distinction to make.
Yeah, so he didn't actually use the weapon per se. He just used the place object as a way to
inflict a little bit of extra damage.
Yeah, exactly. So
now, obviously, it backfired on him a little bit but.
Oh no. Ah no. Can you do me a favor? My battery's about to fucking die. Of fucking course, right to the get to the end. I'll let you know when it dies, and then you can take over from here. Or still try to look for it, and I'll go from here. So.
Alright, what's the name of the friggin' thing?
It's voicesofwrestling.com. Oh shit, I haven't sent it to you, did I? Son of a bitch.
No, you didn't.
Alright, fuck it. I'm just gonna continue. I'm gonna go full of speed run this. Kazarian came out with and fought Marty Scurll to the back while Cody shoved Kerry Silkin at ringside. A table that got brought out eventually got used when Cody put Daniels through it with a belly-to-back suplex finisher. Finishers were then exchanged. Cody finally won after hitting a second crossroads and won the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. The fans' reaction, for the most part, was interesting. For the most part, Cody was over for the majority of the crowd in Lowell Memorial Auditorium. Associating himself with the Bullet Club, it was the smartest decision Cody ever made because it pretty much guaranteed that he'd get a positive reaction from a large contingent of Bullet Club fans. Some might call them, quote, casual hardcores, that almost always turn out for these big Ring of Honor events. The reaction that Daniels got was certainly more than mixed. He definitely got cheers and chants in his favor, but he got more negative responses. We even got some Daniel sucks chants at one point. As for the match itself, there was some good wrestling at various points. Everything before the shenanigans was solid, and I actually thought that the closing few minutes with Cody and Daniels exchanging counters and finishers was pretty good as well. However, the shenanigans definitely hurt the match, and in general, Cody winning was such a flat ending, even though it was all Bullet Club fans who loved it. Look, at the end of the day, he rated this for 3.25 stars. At the end of the day, people just wanted to see Cody win the fucking championship. They didn't care.
Yeah, that's
it was
all
Cody's
we
fucking
cared
time
about.
At that
is
point.
all we cared about.
Cody Rhodes.
I'm just shocked I'm just shocked that when we saw him stand up on the turnbuckle and hold that belt high, nobody started barking out, barking out, barking out.
Yeah, right. Dude, that was such a great mark. Dude, that fucking auditorium exploded. There was, I'm
Dude,
gonna tell you right now, when he won that belt, I don't care if they were some of them were in Daniel's quarter. The minute he won that fucking championship, everyone popped, huge. I hadn't heard a crowd pop that big in ages, dude. I don't care if it was a small arena or not. That was loud as shit when he won that championship.
That crowd
Everyone loved it.
That crowd made more noise than a crowd of that size should have any right to make.
Yeah, that was so loud, dude. It was by no means spectacular. Best in the World 2017 was a very solid outing from Ring of Honor. So, yeah, this was his final thoughts. If you want to check that out, go check the article out down below. Because I am running out of battery life here. So, what did we think of the show? For me,
I had a blast.
I had a blast, man. I had a blast at the TV tapings afterwards as well. Some of the best wrestling I've seen in God knows how long, man. Like, that was, like, because I was falling out of wrestling at that point because WWE's crap. And Ring of Honor really ignited that fucking passion for me.
Before you had even gotten into the building that day.
Before I'd even gotten back into the building, I was like, you know what? I'm looking forward to this because I always like going to these wrestling shows with Casey. Keep in mind, this is like literally months before he would join WYW too. So I was like looking forward to everything, and you know, I had a blast, man. It really reignited everything. It put things into perspective. Thank God I got out of a relationship that was not healthy. Pretty much like a month after this fucking show, actually. And then I brought WYW back, and this was kind of the catalyst of how that all started. So, I mean, the rest is history, guys. Like, this was kind of the start of big things for me, and I have this show to thank in a lot of ways. And fun fact, the reason why we were able to bring 4 people for the TV tapings is also because I actually got a fucking question right. Now, I knew that there were 6-man tag team titles, right? I had a feeling that the people involved were the Bullet Club and the Kingdom. I've never watched Ring of Honor TV. Casey knew this. So, I was asked this question, and they said to me, who were the first inaugural Ring of Honor tag team champions, and who did they win them against? And I said, well, there's only two teams that I could think of that would have ever fought for the championships. So, honest to God, I think it was the Kingdom besting the Bullet Club. And they said, you are absolutely correct. Here are your tickets. And I'm like, I feel good.
We got another night of this shit.
And then for some reason, I cut a promo. Don't know how that happened. I cut a promo. And then people liked my promo. It was weird. I'm like, people like my promo? Huh? So I did my thing. I talked to the guy. I told him, hey, yeah, you know, my story, like, wrestling kind of brought me out of my autistic shell, and now I'm getting into other wrestling companies. It's kind of opening my eyes to a bigger world, not just in wrestling, but as a whole. And he's like, oh, that's really awesome to hear, man. And I guess that must have won me over, which is probably why, like, Cody and other people were, like, coming over to me and, like, doing taunts with me and shit, because they saw me there. It also probably helped that not everybody from Best of the World showed up for the TV tapings, which was really, really sad.
Yeah.
It was sad. I wish they did, man,
Yeah.
because that would have been a really hot crowd for TV tapings if they did. But it was still a hot crowd, even with the small people there. It was just great, man. It was a great night. It was a great couple nights of wrestling, man. Highly recommend go watching Best in the World 2017. I give this show a A+.
I agree.
And now it looks like both companies of AEW and Ring of Honor will be working together in some point in the future, because NWA, if you haven't been keeping up to date with what AEW has been doing with Impact, not to mention AEW and Ring of Honor are working with the NWA, seems like we're having a turn of the tides in the pro wrestling industry. So
a bit of a territory resurgence, if you will.
Yes, which, god damn it, we've needed it for a long ass time. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ring of Honor Best in the World.
Yes, indeed. And that was only the beginning of a series of retros that he and I will be part of. I don't know which one he will be on for next, but the next time you see me for the Retro Wrestling Review series will be on his first pick of this series. 2 nights of amazing action. They'll obviously be for separate reviews, but 2 nights of incredible wrestling action in 2019 New York City.
New York City, baby. Oh, man, what a fucking... Honest to God, man. I'm hoping I get Johnny in for that, even though Johnny doesn't typically, unless it's WYW, show up for shows like this. But I really, really want to get him involved for this.
Well, I did ask him about it. He says he's down.
Cool.
He just wants to know when.
That
I said I'll keep him
tell
posted.
him. So we know that because I'll be honest with you, man. I don't necessarily need to review the damn shows. I just know that I'm gonna tell my story of what I did in New York City. It's gonna be fun. Gonna be fun to relive those memories. I gotta tell you, man. Like I will say, to give a little teaser. It has nothing to do with wrestling. If you've never been to New York City,
It's fucking
you owe
massive.
it to yourself to fucking go for the sheer spectacle of the sky horizon that you come across. Everyone's like, well, they have really good pictures, and it's like, it doesn't look like any bigger. Like, it looks like it's busy, but it doesn't look big on pictures. It's massive in person.
You get there. I can confirm this. I went there for like a day and a half in 2015 with my sister and her school class. New York City is a mind fuck and a half when you get there in person.
You've never seen such a huge city like that in your life until you.
And this is coming from two people. And this is coming from 2 people who have lived just south of Boston or in various parts of Massachusetts their entire lives.
Yeah. So like, I've never been any other city in my life, except if you want to count, I guess. What was the city? There was a couple cities I think I've been to on the road there. Like we saw like Pennsylvania, like the main area of Pennsylvania, because we had to cut through there. Main city of Connecticut. Just stuff like that. Like it was just like you've seen those cities, and it's like, oh, these are huge, and whatnot. New York City, like, you don't expect it. It, like, hits you in the face, like, how massive it is. Your peripheral vision can't even take all of it in. This place is huge.
Which makes me fucking terrified. Which makes me fucking terrified if I ever go to LA.
I will never go to LA. I don't care. You will never catch me dead in LA. Which is funny because my character is based from LA. But yeah, I'm never going there. I've heard horror stories about LA traffic, and yeah, I can't.
That's why you rent a bike.
Yeah, exactly. Even then, never. But yeah, New York City's a mindfuck, and we will be talking about how massive those 2 nights of wrestling were. I've never been to... Honestly, probably the end of an era for NXT. I mean, you could probably count the Toronto show that year, but that was right before Vince McMahon was like, I'm going to take over now because I need to compete with AEW, unfortunately. And then the rest is history, and NXT has greatly suffered just not moving its fucking day. So, I don't know. Anyway, we'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but I am really looking forward to at least covering the 2 shows. If you liked what you saw here, yeah, just follow Owen's channel. Follow Owen's 2 other channels. He's going to be coming back soon. He's going to be doing a lot more videos with me, helping him along for the ride. I'm going to be able to... See, the thing about TeamViewer, by the way, big shout out to whoever developed TeamViewer, is that I can actually help him with editing process via his desktop
In real time
on my desktop. So it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful program. I encourage everybody to get it. I really do. And yeah, he'll be back. So subscribe to all of his channels. Casey, where can they find you on the YouTubes and the social medias?
You can find me at ctroop19 on Twitter. Twitter? What?
Twitter?
Twitter is not doing a lot of winning these days.
No. Honest to God, if we didn't have shows to promote, I wouldn't even be on Twitter.
Yeah, same.
I wouldn't even be there.
Actually, that's kind of a lie. I have a Final Fantasy 14 Twitter, but that's neither here nor there.
No, I'm talking.
So,
I'm talking besides that. I'm talking about besides certain communities that we may or may not be a part of. Like, I'm talking main Twitter to promote and just have as a social media platform is cancerous.
yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah. But if for some reason you feel like spending your time on Twitter, you can find me at ctroop19. Subscribe to me on YouTube. The channel is Luke Lynch. Come support Insanity Works Studios under the For the Win Productions umbrella. And yeah, there really isn't much else. I do have Twitch, but I haven't done anything with that in ages, and probably won't be doing much with it anytime soon because of the bullshit that's been happening. We might talk about it on the Indie Force. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe has something to do with that, because maybe we don't want DMCA BS claims that shouldn't exist. Maybe, just maybe. Anyway, if you want to find me, you could do the same thing. I'm on YouTube primarily with various different channels. I'm on here, as you all know. I'm on a bunch of different things, but you can check me out mainly on Insanity Works Studios as of right now, and also on the J. Hebert Studios. Lots of content in the works. You've probably seen a lot of it already. I don't know what order I've been releasing these videos in, but I know we got a bunch of new series coming in. We got 2 new series, Content and Review and Watch-Along. The former on my channel, the latter on his channel. So go check out both of those series. Here's the iCard for both of them in the description. Also, check out Weymouth Youth Wrestling. At some point next year, starting in March, we are going to be releasing matches from the Gold Rush series of WYW. So every single match is going to be released as individual matches. So be on the lookout for that as well. And also be on watch the behind the scenes, which I believe, since he's back to it, will be hosted by Owen. Although we had a few in the can where he wasn't hosting them because of bullshit. So we're going to post those first on my channel. Then it's going to be moving over to Owen's channel now that he's kind of back and ready to get things going. So we'll be doing that. That's all very exciting. For the Win Productions, go check it out. We got a lot of cool content on there. Until next time, we'll see you.
We're going back in time, Marty.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's my new catchphrase. There you go. We're going back in time. It's only a year, but fuck it.
Fuck it.
Rather deal with this than COVID, Marty.
It's like, where we're going, we don't need COVID.
We never needed COVID, you fucking schmuck. We never needed it. Fuck COVID-19.
You're living proof of that. You've been going stir crazy before our eyes this whole year.
To the point where I don't know if I'm good or crazy or... I'm Joker Sting, okay? I'm just Joker Sting. Alright, take care, everyone.
We doing all the classics, you heard it, then I grabbed it. Flow like Method Man, then run like I'm Rabbit. Soon as I hear the bass line, it be my FaceTime. Music's in my veins, so just in case I'm without my iPod or a media player, I'll check my...